Hey guys, this is me, Zach Steele, and Tyler Hobart, and this will be the Week 8 Start Sit video. We'll just go through every game, talk about every fantasy relevant player, and how we rate them each this week. So starting with Vikings at Packers, obviously you're starting Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. He's got a really nice matchup, but I'm not really comfortable trusting him if you can avoid it. Obviously you're starting the starting running backs in this game. Obviously we prefer Cook, but Jamal Williams should be in line for another good game. You're probably starting Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, and obviously Devontae Adams this week. And if you're desperate, you can throw a dart at one of these two tight ends, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it.
Next, we got Titans and Bengals. So I think you're starting both these QBs really confidently this week. It's a nice matchup for both to get in some good fantasy points. So obviously, you got to start Derrick Henry. Gio's going to take Mixon's spot again. I think he's going to run with it. We have him as a running back one this week. Boyd, I think, is going to have a great game, and really all of the Bengals pass catchers, but I don't think you should necessarily be starting AJ Green unless you have to. Drew Sample, I wouldn't worry about. I think Johnny's going to have a good week. We have him at tight end 4. Don't play Corey Davis unless you have to, and AJ Brown's going to tear it up this week, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So Jets Chiefs, obviously you're not going to play Darnold or Frank Gore. LaMichael Pirine, he's kind of a bit of a sneaky play, especially with Frank Gore banged up.
I like him.
They like to use him in the passing game a lot more, and obviously they'll be trailing, which is not different for them, but I think he could have a decent game. Denzel Mims is a little sneaky with Crowder out. It was his first game back last week, and he got a lot of targets. Obviously, you're starting Mahomes and Edwards-Helaire. You're probably starting Bell this week. I know there's a big revenge game narrative. I don't necessarily buy into that as much, but I do think he'll get enough work to be fantasy viable. And obviously, you're starting Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce this week.
Next, got Colts at the Lions. I think if you can find better options at quarterback, don't play Phillip Rivers. I think Stafford could have a pretty good week, but we have him at quarterback 2. Jonathan Taylor is going to have a great week against the Lions' run defense, I think. T.Y. Hilton and really all the Colts pass catchers, none of them are too enticing. I don't think you should be running out to start Trey Burton either. I think DeAndre Swift will get some good work this week. We have him at running back 21, but he's not a must start, I don't think. And Kenny Golladay is a sneaky play this week as well. Marvin Jones, you probably shouldn't be playing anymore or even thinking about it. And TJ Hawkinson is a good tight end just to roll out there week to week, I think.
Agreed. So this should be a good game. Steelers at Ravens. I think you gotta have to start with Lamar, especially with where you drafted him, and he should have a decent week. I'm avoiding Big Ben if I can. I think you've got to start James Conner with all the work he's been getting, and I'm pretty comfortable starting all 3 Steelers receivers, but it's likely that at least one of them will have a bad game, so just be careful with them. I prefer Deontay, and then Claypool and Juju are pretty close in my mind. I think you can consider starting J.K. Dobbins with Mark Ingram out. Especially, I prefer him over Gus Edwards because he's going to get the work in the passing game, but I'm not thrilled starting any Ravens running back. Marquise Brown, he's a deep threat. He's a one-touch guy. He could put up a nice game on one play, but he could end up with a dud. So he's a flex play in my mind. And Mark Andrews, he's a start it and forget it tight end.
So I don't think you should be really looking to play any of the quarterbacks in this matchup. But Darrell Henderson, I think you're confident enough to play him this week, as well as Myles Gaskin. I think he'll be a running back 1. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, I think you keep having to play them week to week. They have the volume, and they've been proven over the years. I think you should play them. Devontae Parker, we'll see. It's an interesting week to roll him out there after the bye and with Tua, but I think you should still play him. Gesicki, I wouldn't really look to play either of the tight ends here. So it's not a great matchup for any players in this game particularly.
For sure. So moving on to this game, Patriots, I'm not really comfortable starting any of them. I think Damian Harris and James White are kind of desperation flex plays if you need it. And if you're really desperate at quarterback, you can play Cam, but it's going to be really windy. He's already struggled with accuracy, so he's going to have a hard time throwing the ball this week. You're starting Josh Allen. I know he's had a couple of rough games, but he's still been good from a fantasy perspective. He does a lot on the ground. He's got a really nice floor. Devin Singletary, I think you can play, but I would look not to if you have better options. Stephon Diggs is a wide receiver 1, especially with Gilmore out this week. Cole Beasley's been really good. He's got a nice floor with all his short intermediate receptions, and John Brown is a desperation flex play. He could connect on a deep ball, but I would avoid him if I can.
Yeah. So we got Raiders and Browns. I don't think any of the quarterbacks here are too great, but you could play Baker. They could be throwing the ball a lot down. But Josh Jacobs, I think, will be a good play for you this week. And Kareem Hunt, we have it running back 3. He's going to have a big game this week. Nelson Aguilar seems to be the pass catcher for the Raiders that I'd be maybe be okay with playing as a flex at this point. Other than that, I'm not too confident in their pass catchers outside of Waller. I think Javaris Landry could have a nice game this week without Odell, but still kind of wait and see. And I think Harrison Bryant you should play this week as well.
I agree. I like Bryant a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So Chargers at Broncos. With how hot Herbert's been lately, I think you've got to play him.
Ooh.
But I would lower expectations this week against what's a pretty good Broncos defense. I'm not playing Drew Lock this week. I think you can start Melvin Gordon, Justin Jackson, and kind of Josh Kelly. I prefer Gordon and Jackson to Kelly. I don't think I'd play Lindsey this week. He's been banged up. I think Gordon's going to get most of the work, especially playing his former team. Keenan Allen's a must start every week. We got him as wide receiver 3. And all the other receivers in this game are kind of just desperation dart throws. Tim Patrick and Jerry Jeudy are not spectacular by any means. And Mike Williams had a rough week again last week. He's kind of boom or bust. And I think you got to start both tight ends in this game.
Mm-hmm. Saints at Bears. So I don't think, again, with this game, you're really looking to play any quarterbacks with confidence. Kamara's going to have a beast game. We have a running back too. David Montgomery, I think you have to keep blowing him out there just because of the volume. And if Robinson plays, I think you have to play him as well. Mooney's a nice flex play. He could be nice this week, but I wouldn't be too confident in him. Same with the Saints pass catchers. You could get a touchdown out of Deontay Harris or Traquan Smith potentially, but you're not confident in really any of the pass catchers in this game for either team.
Agreed. Seahawks at Niners. Pretty much every Seahawks game is bound to be a shootout at this point. So we've got Russell Wilson as the quarterback 1. If you want to stream Jimmy G this week, I wouldn't hate it. He could have a really great game. Both running backs in this game are really banged up. We've got Chris Carson ranked here as RB16, but there's a good chance that him, Homer, and Carlos Hyde are out, in which case I would consider putting DJ Dallas in my lineup. I'm not really thrilled about it either way. Niners are kind of the same situation with Mostert and Wilson out. Tevin Coleman might be activated off IR and play tomorrow. If he does, I'm not really comfortable with any of the guys, but JaMychal Hasty is a guy to look at if Coleman doesn't play. Obviously, you're starting Metcalf and Lockett this week. We've got them both as top 4 receivers. Ayuk, especially with Deebo Samuel out, could have a great game. Same with Kendrick Bourne. Kittle's a must-start tight end, and Olsen, I don't think I would play if I can avoid it.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think you want to play Ben DiNucci week 1 for the Cowboys, but Carson Wentz is going to go off against just an awful defense. Zeke, I think you have to keep playing him no matter what so far. We have a running back 8. Boston Scott, I think, is going to be a good play this week against that awful Cowboys defense. So we have that running back 12. Folkman's been great, so I think you're playing him with confidence. He could be a wide receiver 2 this week. Greg Ward's a good streaming option, and they just activated Dallas Goedert. I think you have to play him if you've kept him on your IR. Dalton Schultz, however, I'd avoid, and I'm not too thrilled about playing CeeDee Lamb, or I'm definitely thinking about Michael Gallup anymore. And Cooper, I think if you have him, you just have to play him.
Yep, agreed. So last game here, we got Giants at Buccaneers. In all honesty, I'm avoiding pretty much the whole Giants roster. I think Sterling Shepard's got a nice floor as a wide receiver 2, but I'm not thrilled about it. And obviously Darius Slayton's a boomer bust flex play, but again, not thrilled. You probably have to play Evan Ingram if you have him. He's probably your best tight end option, but we don't like him. You're probably starting Tom Brady this week. He's been on a tear. He really is a bit of a stat patter, so he's going to have a great game, statistically speaking. We've got Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette both ranked as mid-tier RB2s. You could play either one. I think I personally prefer Leonard Fournette in PPR formats. He's their pass-catching back. You can play Mike Evans this week, especially with Chris Godwin out, but lower expectations. He hasn't been getting a ton of looks. Scotty Miller, we also have ranked, but again, you never know where the touchdowns are going to go in this offense. Tyler Johnson could come out and have a game, so I'm not really thrilled with Scotty Miller. And Gronk, with how barren the tight end landscape is, I think you can play him, but I wouldn't be thrilled about it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's every
Nathan?
game. If you've got any start sit questions, please feel free to hit us up in the comments. We do our best to get back to you. I'm sure I can get back to you before games start tomorrow. If you want more content like this, we do this video, we do a waiver video and a trade video every week. So please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell and give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Thanks, guys.
Good luck this week.